The Dow falls below 10,000 for the first time in 4 years. Jim Cramer is the host of Mad Money on CNBC. Well, you don't have to call it Mad Money just today, but that's what's going on. Cramer, what do we do?
Okay.
I wonder, what do we do?
If you need money, if you've got some sort of short-term consideration, need to buy a house, need to buy a car, you're about to put your kid through college, take some of the money out of the stock market, please, and put it in a cash account, meaning a savings account that's now insured to $250,000. If you don't need the money, you don't have any short-term demands, you can let it ride, provided they're in safe stocks. That means good yield. It means safe balance sheet, and it means they're conservative. If you can smoke it, you can eat it, you can drink it. That's fine.
Okay, so it's like owning a good house. If you know your house is solid, it's got a good structure, it's going to last another 100 years, stay there. And that's the same with stock market, right? If it's worth what it's worth. If it's worth what it's worth, eventually it'll get that price.
Totally. But I also don't want people to say, as they did in 2000, it'll come back. Don't worry about it. If someone's about to retire in 2 years, look, take some of that money out right now. Don't wait to see if it comes back.
Well, that's the old argument. You'll run out of time before you run out of money. Look, that's a good argument, by the way, for getting the money now. But let me ask you this about the big picture. Is this going to go on for the next couple of weeks through the election? Is this going to be as bad news? Will we be talking about the stock market on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November?
Absolutely. There's just the worldwide problems are too great. This big decline today where we had down 800, this isn't even us anymore, Chris. I mean, the largest developer in Europe fell apart over the weekend. Germany is making it so that everybody who has a savings account is insured. These are things that cause France to be down 9%. I mean, France is buying houses in the open market. Europe has gotten it now. They're down 8 to 10%. We were actually spared a very big decline.
Well, I don't care really about that. I want to know if that means something to us. Is that going to bounce back over here?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need some strong market somewhere. China's disappeared off the face of the earth. Russia, they keep closing the market all day. But the thing you need to know, Chris, is we're having trouble getting our financing for our own companies.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim Cramer. Bad news, but we'll get back to you and see if it's going to continue beyond the election. We've already heard it's going to continue through the election. Anyway, Mad Money airs weeknights at 6 and 7 Eastern on CNBC. Joining me now, Wall Street Journal columnist and the best in the business this year, Peggy Noonan, whose new book is appropriately called Patriotic Grace. I'm the Washington Post columnist and MSNBC political analyst Eugene Robinson. We've talked about the economy. We've talked about what are the politics of the economy right now. What is this doing, the fact that the market dropped about 400 points today, and it keeps dropping every day? What's that do to this election?
Oh, my goodness. It tells the American people we are in a real economic crisis. It leaves everybody feeling anxious. When people are anxious, they get angry. Who are they going to be angry at? They're going to be angry at the president's party. Right. I mean, there is a rough justice on economic matters. If the economy is going well and Bill Clinton is the president, whether he had something to do with it or not, he gets the credit.
My dad always told me, he was a Republican, he always told me, hey, it wasn't Hoover's fault. He had some good ideas. He was working on those ideas. When we went to Hell in a Handbag, he said it is judged on whose watch it is.
It does. And so that's working against John McCain and in favor of Barack Obama. The other thing, frankly, that's working against McCain and in favor of Obama is how the two initially reacted to the fiscal crisis. And I think
you mean the one that said the economy is fundamentally
strong? Exactly, the one who said that the economy, the fundamentals of the economy are strong, and then had an erratic path through the week to finally get to the point where this is a crisis, I have to suspend my campaign.
Let's talk about
and
this.
the other one who was very steady, perhaps didn't shoot the lights out on the crisis, but nonetheless was steady and inspired.
Let's talk about that word steady. Back in the old days, when we were all much younger and we wanted a daddy figure as our anchor man at night. Remember the daddy figure, the great Uncle Walter or Uncle? Back in those days when we were a little more younger in our mentality, we wanted a daddy that would say, we'll get through the assassination, we'll get through the war, we'll get through the Watergate. And Uncle Walter came on tonight and said, that's the way it is. One thing I noticed about Obama, and it sometimes drives me crazy, Peggy, is that he seems very calm. And I keep want him to be more like me, or more like Cramer, which is we're very much alike. And yet that almost Zen calmness of him, and our Perry Como calmness of his, seems to be helping him compared to the erratic seeming McCain. Is that tenor important, or is it at some point do you have to show some passion?
I think Barack Obama made a big impression on the American people in the past 10 days. There was a crisis, and he was, the word I always think of for him is languid. He was languid.
Is that
He was
good?
cool. He was calm. He was laid back. You know what's funny about him? He never gets a little tremor. Never gets a shake. It's always straight ahead.
The voice of the pilot
All right.
during
They
turbulence.
call him no drama Obama.
Well, here he
Yeah.
is. Let's watch and see if we can measure any tenor in his voice today as this stock market just rattles and rolls downward. Here he is in Nashville.
I've got news for the McCain campaign. The American people are losing right now. They're losing their jobs. They're losing their health care. They're losing their homes. They're losing their savings. I cannot imagine anything more important to talk about than the economic crisis, and the notion that we would want to brush that aside and engage in the usual political shenanigans and smear tactics that have come to characterize too many political campaigns, I think is not what the American people are looking for.
Okay, now hold that picture, everybody watching, that picture of that guy there with what's coming now. Here's Governor Palin talking about that man today in Florida.
I'm afraid this is someone who sees America as imperfect enough to work with a former domestic terrorist who had targeted his own country. This, ladies and gentlemen, has nothing to do with the kind of change that anyone can believe in. Not my kids, not for your kids. What we believe in is what Ronald Reagan believed in, and that is America is an exceptional nation.
In the same vein, here's the sheriff of Lee County in Florida speaking at a program before a Palin rally. He had this to say about the Democratic nominee for president.
On November 4th, let's leave Barack Hussein Obama wondering what happened.
Okay, I'm a student of politics since I was 13 years old, and I see a pattern. All right? This has nothing to do with my views about these candidates. I see an attempt over the last several days to tie 3 points together in the thinking of older voters especially so that they can have a mystery about Barack Obama they haven't had last week. One, this question of his relationship with Bill Ayers, the weatherman back 10 years or so in Chicago politics, or Chicago organizing politics. Two, his middle name, Hussein. And three, the question of who his donor list includes. I think they're putting this together by demanding that donor list. They're trying to build the case that he's a man of mystery, that not that he's a street corner guy from the ghetto, but that he's somehow maybe connected to terrorism because of this past association with a terrorist, with his middle name being Hussein, which I predicted last week. Everybody I've talked to, it was coming out. And third, this donor list game. They are trying to make him a man of dangerous mystery because they can't beat him on the standard issues of this election. Is that what they're doing?
Absolutely. I mean, it's and they don't have to connect the dots, but they're not connecting the dots. They just
well, you're watching
they just pop a dot up here and another dot up there, and they let people draw whatever
Use
connections
their
they want. They'll never say.
They want us to do the dirty work for them. That's what's so brilliant.
They want the voter. Are we going to do it?
They want the voter to do it. That bill, I'll tell you, John McCain tomorrow night with Tom Brokaw will not attack him for his association. He will talk about him. He will say, can he take a hit? Can he take questioning? Very smart. At the same time, Governor Palin's out there hitting him in the guts.
Yeah,
and at the same time, they got this sheriff out there in a sheriff's uniform talking about Hussein. And